In this video, we're going to start with what is outliers and what is the use of it. Then I will be showing and operating that how can we detect outliers in just a normal CSV file, that is heights.csv. And then we're going to operate at Bangalore house data, which we have downloaded from Kaggle. So to begin with, what is outlier? An outlier is a data point that is significantly different from the remaining data. Another way of saying it, that an outlier is an observation that deviates so much from the other observation that it arouses suspicion that a different mechanism produced it. So now we're going to see how can we detect the outliers and then remove it. So this is a particular data set which is heights.csv I used, and I displayed it also. And next what I'm going to do is detect the outlier using percentile. That means using a quantile. For that we create a variable named max threshold, and I write it as max thresh equals to df, and then we have height, and then I want to use a quantile that is 0.95. I want to get the max thresh value which is there. So I can use here the function quantile 0.95, and then I want to print max thresh. And as I execute this particular cell, then I get the value of max thresh as 7.47 something. Now what I need to do, I need to print that particular data frame which is having the value of max threshold which is there. So for that you have to simply write like this: df, you again have to produce a data frame df in which you have height, and then you have to write like this is greater than max thresh. This you have to write for the data frame which is there, and I guess I missed a quote here. Okay, fine. This you have to print, and as I execute this particular cell here, you can see that the person who has an extraordinary height, we can say, is Ramesh, and the height has been printed. Now I want to check for the minimum also, the minimum height also. For that quantile I will select the quantile as 0.5 and then similarly print the minimum threshold also. So you can see that it prints the minimum value of height which is there, and here we applied for maximum and there we applied for minimum value which is there. Now we have seen that also now we need to remove the outliers which is there, and for that we do height that is less than max thresh and combine those heights only, excluding this two heights, that is extreme max threshold and extreme min threshold which is there. So for that you can simply write like this: df, again you have to write in parenthesis df, their height, and this height is actually less than max thresh, and you have to write like this again df, where the height that will be greater than min thresh. So we are actually joining, creating, we can say, a data frame of those particular heights which are normal. Those data points only we are creating. So here you can write like this, the min thresh which is there. And as I execute this particular cell, so here you can see that it returns me only the values which are like normal values of height, we can say, excluding 1.2 and 8 which is there. These data points have been excluded. Now this is what we happen, and this is we have operated on a very simple data set. And next we're going to see that how can we operate on the Bangalore property prices data set which is there. So we're going to download it from the Kaggle. So here you can see that this is the data set which is in Kaggle, and you can download this particular zip file, and as you extract it you get a CSV file, and that CSV file only I have loaded here, that is Bangalore house.csv data. And as we need to read it first, so I have copied the path over here. And next what we need to do for reading any CSV file, we used to write like this: df pd.readcsv, and in the parenthesis we give the path which is there. And then I would like to display you the first 5 entries. For that we use the head function which is there. So as I execute this particular cell, here you can see that these are the top 5 entries. We can, there's the first 5 entries which are there. That is the area type, which is the area type there. The availability, location, where it is, size, society, total square feet, bathroom, balcony, and the price which are there. This is what a data set have. If you want to check the data set shape there, what is the shape of this particular data column, you can analyze from here also that how many columns would be there. But if you were to check, then you can check like df.shape, and as you execute this particular cell, then you see that it has 13,320 rows, we can say, the entries, and 9 features of the columns which are there. Next, what we need to do is we can use the describe function also for getting the min, max, 25%, 60% values which are there. And we use like this df.describe, and here you can see the count is there, the mean value is there, standard deviation is there, minimum value is there, 25%, 50, 75%, and maximum value is there. Now what we need to do, we need to explore the samples that are above 99.90 percentile and below 1 percentile rank. That means similarly we need to calculate the min threshold and the max threshold which is there. And we'll be doing it on the price per square feet. That particular value we will be operating on. So here you can see that it generates the minimum threshold value which is there and the maximum threshold value which is there on the price, which is there a field of a data frame, we can say, of this Bangalore house data which is there. Next, what we need to do now, we need to check with the price, the minimum threshold value, we need to print that. So for that we can write like this df, and again we have to write df dot price less than minimum threshold which is there. And as I execute this particular cell, then we get off those particular entries where the minimum threshold is there. Similarly, we can check for the maximum threshold also. So we have to simply write on this price entry only df dot price, and where price is actually greater than the max threshold. And as I execute this particular cell, then you can see it gives us the price which are having the maximum values which is there. Next, what we need to do is we have checked for the minimum value also and the maximum values also. Now we need to remove the outliers, and we want to get only those values where it falls in a particular range, removing the extreme maximum and the extreme minimum values which is there. For that we will create another data frame just like we did for. Here you can see that I have written the same, and as I execute this particular cell, then you can see that it is showing me the values which have been removed. Earlier we can see in the shape of that particular data frame that there were certainly more entries which are there. Here you can see, and now some entries have been removed. So that means the maximum and the minimum value which falls in the range or which are actually an outlier have been removed. And now if we use the df.describe, then you will see that the entries or the mean value has been changed for this data frame. That is df2.describe. And as I execute this particular cell, now you can see that the values have changed for the which are previously of this particular data frame. So this is the very basic about what is outlier, and we have discussed it on 2 data sets, that is height.csv and Bangalore house data. So Bangalore house data, you can download it from Kaggle also and implement this example at